Okay, so you want to buy a gas station. Find a busy corner, put up the big glowing price sign, and watch thousands of dollars in fuel pump through your registers every single day. Here's the strange part. A gas station is one of the only businesses on Earth that can run $500,000 a month through the till and still leave its owner unable to pay themselves a salary. It's a business where the product screaming at you in 2-foot-tall numbers on the street is the least profitable thing you sell. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how many cents from a $4 gallon actually land in your pocket, where a gas station's real money is hidden because it is absolutely not the pumps, and why the thing you thought you were buying isn't the business at all. This channel breaks down the real economics of businesses like this one, so subscribe if you want the honest math nobody at the dealership will tell you. So let's go shopping because gas stations come in tiers, and they're almost different businesses. At the bottom is the unbranded independent, a small lot, 4 to 6 pumps, a tired little store, out in a rural area or a forgotten suburb. Depending on location and whether the land comes with it, these can trade anywhere from around $500,000 to a couple $1 million. Cheap to enter, brutal to run, because you have no big brand pulling drivers in and no volume discounts on fuel. Step up and you get the branded station, the Shell, the BP, the Chevron on the good corner. You're paying for the logo and the traffic it drags in, and a solid one with strong volume and real estate can run $3 to $7 million. The catch is that the brand isn't free after you buy. You sign a fuel supply agreement, you buy their gasoline at their price, and you play by their rules on signage, hours, and store layout. You're not fully your own boss, you're a franchise-flavored tenant of an oil company. And then there's the trophy tier, the highway travel center, the truck stop plus restaurant plus 12 pumps monster off the interstate. Those are effectively small retail malls that happen to sell diesel, and the big ones change hands for tens of millions. The economics up there are completely different because a long-haul trucker doesn't just buy $200 of diesel, he eats, showers, shops, and sometimes sleeps, and every one of those is a fatter margin than the fuel that pulled him in. Keep that idea in your back pocket, it's the whole secret of this video, and we'll come back to it. Okay, you've picked something in your budget. Now, where do you actually buy it? You've basically got 3 doors. Door 1, buy a brand new build, or buy straight from a major oil company offloading real estate. Clean, modern, expensive, and often wrapped in a fuel supply contract that locks you into buying that brand's gasoline for a decade or more, whether their wholesale price is competitive or not. Door 2, the secondary market, the far more common route, existing stations sold by mom-and-pop owners retiring, or by chains pruning their weaker locations. This works exactly like buying a used house, you inherit the good and the hidden bad. Door 3, the bargain bin, distressed stations, bankruptcies, and this is the one that bites, the environmental cleanup special. Because here's the catch that can turn a cheap station into the most expensive mistake of your life. Underneath every gas station sit underground storage tanks, and if those tanks have ever leaked, you, the new owner, can inherit a contaminated soil cleanup that runs into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes more than you paid for the whole property. That suspiciously cheap station on the corner is sometimes cheap for a reason that's buried 8 feet underground. Rule number 1 of this business, you're never just buying a store, you're buying whatever is in the dirt beneath it. Okay, the deal is done. You've signed the check, shaken hands, taken the photo under your glowing sign. And now, before you've sold a single gallon, the bills of simply owning the thing start arriving. You have staff to pay around the clock, because a station that closes at night bleeds its most loyal customers to the one that doesn't. You have electricity, and it's not small, refrigerated coolers, freezers, lighting, and the pumps themselves run 24 hours a day. You have insurance on a property where flammable liquid is stored underground and strangers drive heavy vehicles within feet of your building. You have compliance, regular testing and monitoring of those underground tanks mandated by environmental regulators, non-negotiable and not cheap. And you have maintenance where a single fuel dispenser can cost tens of thousands of dollars to replace, and they do fail. Now, the anatomy of your very first gallon sold, because this is where the fantasy finally meets the math. Your street price on day 1 is, let's say, $3.11 a gallon. Feels like a lot of money changing hands. Watch where it actually goes. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, roughly half of that pump price is the raw crude oil itself. Another fifth or so goes to the refiners who turn crude into usable gasoline. And taxes take another big bite. Federal, state, and local combined average about 51 cents a gallon nationwide. ranging from under 30 cents in Alaska to nearly 90 cents in California. So by the time your tanker truck fills your tanks, your gross markup, the difference between what you paid wholesale and what you charge, is only about 35 cents a gallon. That matches the 5-year national average of 35 to 40 cents reported by NACS, the Convenience Store Industry Association. 35 cents. Now watch the vultures land on it. Credit card processing fees eat about 8.4 cents of every gallon, because the card companies charge a percentage of the whole transaction, including the tax you don't even keep. Getting the fuel delivered, another 6 cents or so. Then labor, electricity to run pumps and coolers, insurance, maintenance where one broken dispenser can cost tens of thousands to replace. When the smoke clears, your net profit on a gallon of gas is about 10 cents. NACS puts the typical range at 10 to 15 cents. 10 cents on a $3 product. That's a net margin around 3%, thinner than a grocery store. And here's the fact that makes drivers furious when they learn it. According to a NACS consumer survey, 45% of drivers believe gas stations make at least $2 of profit per gallon. The real number is roughly 1/20th of that. If $2 a gallon were true, a typical station selling 1.5 million gallons a year would clear $3 million in profit. The actual figure is a rounding error next to that. So let's total up your machine. Say your station pumps a healthy 120,000 gallons a month. At 10 cents net, that's $12,000 of monthly fuel profit before your loan payment, before your own salary. And a station-sized loan can easily eat 9,000 of that by itself. You are running a fortune through your pumps to keep a treadmill spinning. This, by the way, is the industry norm, not bad luck. There are roughly 152,000 fuel-selling locations in America generating over $830 billion a year. Yet the typical fuel-selling convenience store runs on blended net margins of just 1 to 3%, near the very bottom of all retail. You have bought the most convincing optical illusion in small business. Revenue everywhere, profit almost nowhere. If this is already changing how you see that corner station, hit like it takes 1 second. So if the pumps barely make money, why does anyone own one? Here's the reveal that flips the entire business upside down. According to NACS, fuel accounts for about 67% of a convenience store's revenue, but only about 39% of its profit. 2/3 of the money, barely 1/3 of the earnings. The pumps are not the product. The pumps are the world's most expensive billboard. Their real job isn't to sell gasoline. It's to physically yank a stranger off the road onto your property several times a week, something almost no other business can reliably do. And once they're there, the actual business begins because 57% of fuel customers also walk inside. That 20-gallon fill-up earned you about $2. The coffee and breakfast sandwich they grab on the way out can earn more than the entire tank of gas. Prepared food and dispensed drinks carry gross margins in the 35 to 40% range, 10 times fuel's margin, and food service has now overtaken cigarettes as the single biggest in-store category. Think of your station as a magnet bolted to a cash register. The fuel is the magnet, expensive to run, pulling cars in. The store is the register where the money is actually made. Buy a station with a great magnet and a lazy register, and you'll do exactly what most failing owners do: pay billboard prices for traffic and then watch it drive away with your profits still in its pocket. And this is why the giants build those enormous highway travel centers. They figured out that if the magnet is already dragging in 1,000 cars a day, the smart move is to build the biggest possible register next to it. More food, more coffee, more services, a car wash, a quick service restaurant leasing space inside, an ATM, lottery. Every one of those turns a $2 fuel visit into a $9 visit, and the fuel margin didn't move a cent. The best operators in America stopped thinking of themselves as fuel sellers years ago. They think of themselves as landlords of the busiest few thousand square feet in the neighborhood. Now, the graveyard, because plenty of people have learned these lessons the hard way. The classic killer is the price war. Because your fuel sign is visible from the road, competitors can see your price without leaving their car. So a station across the street drops their price 2 cents to steal your traffic, you match it to survive, and now you're both selling gas at nearly break-even while a hypermarket like Costco a half-mile away undercuts you both. Research from UC Berkeley's Energy Institute found hypermarket stations push down area prices by around 2 cents a gallon within half a mile. On a 10-cent margin, 2 cents is a fifth of your entire profit gone, decided by a neighbor you can't control. The second killer is the price spike, and it works backwards from what everyone assumes. When wholesale prices surge, you usually can't raise your street price fast enough to keep up. Competition pins you down, so your margin gets crushed at the exact moment customers are screaming that you're gouging them. As one petroleum analyst put it, station owners are price takers, not price makers, beholden to the market like a homeowner selling into a crash. You can earn your thinnest margin ever on the most expensive gas you've ever sold. And the third killer is the one buried in the dirt, the leaking tank that turns into a six-figure environmental remediation, wiping out years of those hard-won 10-cent gallons in a single cleanup order. Quick note, this is education, not financial advice. Every station and market is different, so always do your own research before buying any business. Okay, enough pain. Let's calculate what you actually earn if you buy a station right now. 2 scenarios, real structure. Optimistic scenario. You bought a well-located branded station for around $2 million. You pump 150,000 gallons a month at a healthy 12 cents net. That's about $216,000 a year in fuel profit. But the real engine is your store, doing $80,000 a month in inside sales at strong margins, throwing off another $250,000 or so in gross profit a year. After labor, rent, insurance, and card fees, you might clear $150,000 to $200,000 in owner profit. Payback on your investment, very roughly a decade, with a genuinely good living along the way. Realistic bad scenario. A price war drags your fuel margin down to 8 cents. A hypermarket opens nearby and steals volume. Your store was neglected by the previous owner and inside sales limp along at $40,000 a month. Card fees and a spike in wholesale prices squeeze you further, and one compliance issue with your tanks costs you $50,000 in a single year. Now you're barely breaking even after the loan payment, working 70 hours a week to pay yourself almost nothing. Same building, same pumps, wildly different life, and the difference was never the fuel, it was the store and the corner. And hanging over both scenarios is the 10-year question, electric vehicles. Every year more drivers charge at home instead of pulling up to a pump, and the long-term worry for every fuel magnet in the country is what happens when the magnet slowly weakens. The operators who sleep well at night are the ones whose profit already lives inside the store, because an electric car driver who stops to charge for 20 minutes still wants a coffee and a snack, and 20 minutes is a lot longer than a fill-up. The pump may fade, the register doesn't have to. So here's the truth about owning a gas station. You will not get rich selling gasoline, you will barely get by selling gasoline. Gasoline is the bait. The business, the actual machine that pays your mortgage, is the coffee, the roller grill hot dogs, the cold drinks, the lottery tickets, and the car wash, the boring little high-margin things hiding behind the flashy sign. The most successful owners in the country figured out one thing: they're not in the fuel business, they're in the traffic business, and fuel is just the most expensive way ever invented to buy traffic. Drop a comment, and I read everyone. If you owned a station tomorrow, what's the first thing you'd put inside to turn all those cars into actual profit? And subscribe before you go, because next we're breaking down the economics of owning a car wash, a business where the margins are the mirror image of fuel, and the water costs far less than you'd ever guess. Because at a gas station, the sign out front sells gas. But the person who owns it isn't really selling gas at all. They're selling the reason you pulled off the road. The gas was never the point.